Hey everyone, it's Kyle, Azor Ahai. With episode 2 of season 8 airing tonight, we are more than likely finally seeing Jon Snow's true parentage revealed to the realm. I expect that our favorite characters will not only have conversations about Ned Stark and Jon's mother Lyanna, but also Rhaegar Targaryen as well. In this video, we are going to compare and take a deeper look at the similarities between Jon Snow and his father, Rhaegar Targaryen. Despite being dead 15 years before the beginning of Game of Thrones, Rhaegar Targaryen is a central character. His actions contribute to the fall of House Targaryen while also possibly giving the world the one hero to defeat the Night King with Jon Snow. For the most part, Rhaegar has been a shade in Game of Thrones. He's not discussed very often, so we really don't know him. However, it is possible that we can learn about Rhaegar through his son, Jon Snow. While Jon doesn't look like Rhaegar, his early childhood and general mood are very similar to Rhaegar's. In the books, which does give more information on Rhaegar, we learn that Rhaegar was born in grief during the midst of the tragedy at Summerhall when many Targaryens died of wildfire. Rhaegar seemed to shoulder that doom and always had a melancholy tone. Similarly, Jon was born in the Tower of Joy in the midst of tragedy during Robert's Rebellion, which took most of his family. Jon was raised in Winterfell as a bastard and without a mother's love, and which took Jon's heart. Jon is described as sullen and usually feels very alone in Winterfell. According to Westeros.org, as a child, Rhaegar was more content with books and in solitude. It wasn't until later when he took an interest in sword fighting that he gains loyal friendships, kind of like Jon does with the Night's Watch. Rhaegar and his son share another trait, tragic love interests. Although he is married to Elia Martell, Rhaegar disappears with Lyanna Stark not long after crowning her the Queen of Love and Beauty at the Tournament of Harrenhal. There are many theories explaining Rhaegar's controversial move, but perhaps we need to take a look at Jon to learn more about the possible reason behind Rhaegar's choices. Jon falls for Ygritte, a woman of the Free Folk, the enemy of the Night's Watch. At the time, Jon is still on his undercover mission from Corn Halfhand to meet Mance Rayder and to learn about the Free Folk's plan. Jon knows that being with Ygritte will help him appear more like a deserter and gain the Free Folk's trust. However, during his mission, he unexpectedly falls hard for the redhead. Jon's time with Ygritte and the Free Folk make him realize that he does not need to save the south of the wall. He needs to save the living from the wrath of the dead. Jon and Ygritte's relationship doesn't last long, and as Jon returns to Castle Black to inform them of the Free Folk's raid on Castle Black during the battle, Ygritte dies in Jon's arms. Perhaps Rhaegar was thinking of the greater good when he made his choice to be with Lyanna Stark. According to Barristan Selmy, Rhaegar loved being amongst the people, the small folk, so it is a natural conclusion that Rhaegar also wanted to protect them as well. The blanks are not quite filled in on why Rhaegar abandoned his family at King's Landing to be with Lyanna Stark. Perhaps the novels will give us a hint. In Game of Thrones, Meera tells Bran the story of the Night of the Laughing Tree. In it, we learn that a she-wolf, possibly Lyanna Stark, saves a little Crannogman, a young Hallan Reed, from being beaten by several squires. Later, a small mystery knight challenges the knights of the abusive squires. The king at the time, Mad King Aerys II, was wroth and even sent his son, the Dragon Prince Rhaegar, to seek the man. But all they ever found was his painted shield, hanging abandoned in a tree. We also learned that the Dragon Prince wins the tournament, and the Wolf Maid is crowned the Queen of Love and Beauty. The same outcome as when Rhaegar infamously won the Tournament of Harrenhal and gave the crown of Winter Roses to Lyanna. There is a theory that Lyanna Stark was the mysterious Knight of the Laughing Tree, which brings a possible parallel between Jon and Rhaegar Targaryen. While King Aerys doesn't call for the Mystery Knight's death, he does want the person captured. Jon was meant to capture and kill Ygritte, but he secretly sets her free. It is possible to believe something similar happens when he finds out that Lyanna is the Mystery Knight. He does not bring Lyanna to the king, but instead falls in love with her and breaks his wedding vows by later running off with her. But why does he do this? Like Jon, perhaps Rhaegar realized a bigger picture after meeting Lyanna. It was widely known that King Aerys II was mad and spiraling down into paranoia. And some believe that the Harrenhal tournament was a cover for Rhaegar to gather support to unseat his father and take up the duties of the Iron Throne for himself. While Rhaegar is on that mission, he meets Lyanna who, if the theory of the Mystery Knight is to be believed, is honorable and defends those who cannot defend themselves. Perhaps he sees a kindred spirit in Lyanna Stark. In Jaime Lannister's last conversation with Rhaegar Targaryen, after the brutal deaths of Rickard and Brandon Stark at the hands of the Mad King, Rhaegar says he means to call a council. Changes will be made, Rhaegar said. Rhaegar admits that he should have done it long ago. He says they will talk once he returns, which never happens as Rhaegar Targaryen is killed by Robert Baratheon in the Battle of the Trident. This conversation with Jaime leads to another thread that connects Jon and Rhaegar: leadership, although it is shown in opposite ways. As the first and trueborn son of the king, Rhaegar was born to rule the Seven Kingdoms. His entire upbringing centered around him learning the ways of leadership. Jon, on the other hand, is raised with the disgraceful title of being a bastard. His only hope of escape is to join the Night's Watch and earn honor by protecting the realms of men. It is with this step that Jon starts on the road to a new life, albeit a very difficult one. In the show, Jon becomes Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, King in the North, and ultimately learns his true identity as the heir to the Iron Throne. It is important to know that Jon doesn't seek any of these titles. They seem to fall right into his lap. Samwell Tarly orchestrates Jon's nomination and election as Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. The Bannermen of the North proclaim him as their leader, King in the North, and as son of Rhaegar and Lyanna, he automatically has a legitimate claim to the Iron Throne. It is also important to mention that Jon very much takes after the man who raised him, Ned Stark. He's the person that Jon respects the most, more than anyone else in the world. Even though most of Westeros buys into the story of Rhaegar kidnapping and raping Lyanna, we need to remember that Ned doesn't have a mean word to say about Rhaegar. Robert makes Rhaegar out to be a villain, but Ned does not join in on Robert's rants. This detail should speak volumes because it touches on two of Ned's characteristics: honor and his love for family. Ned's silence about Rhaegar is a very subtle clue that things are not what they seem. We may never get the full story of Rhaegar Targaryen, but it is interesting to think that George R. R. Martin may have left clues in his characterization of Jon Snow. After all of this, it is plausible to believe that while Rhaegar has been dead for nearly 2 decades, he may have not failed in his mission to provide Westeros a proper protector and a new leader. His youngest son born from and during the sword-clashing Song of Ice and Fire, Jon Snow. Now the question remains, will Jon be able to finish what Rhaegar started? Will he have a chance to lead Westeros, and will he take it? I believe we will see Rhaegar's Prince That Was Promised prophecy come to fruition in Game of Thrones Season 8, with Jon Snow becoming king and melting down the Iron Throne and perhaps creating an Iron Table. As we see in the history and lore, there is a Council of Seven in the Faith of Seven: the Father, the Mother, the Maiden, the Crone, the Warrior, the Smith, and the Stranger. These archetypes are represented through some of our favorite characters in Game of Thrones, so I do like the idea of their surviving characters making up a new meritocracy. So yes, there will be a part 2 to this video discussing King Arthur, Arthurian legend, and the Knights of the Round Table, and the Lord of the Rings, the One True Ring, and the theme of power in relation to A Song of Ice and Fire, and Game of Thrones. But what do you think will happen? Will Jon become king? Will Daenerys become queen? Or will Jon and Daenerys rule together? Will Jon die again? Or will he bring together the Seven Kingdoms together like I discussed in this video? Let me know your thoughts, your theories, and your tinfoil in the comment section. A big thank you to Amy for helping me out with this video. You're awesome, Amy. Let's show her some hype and love in the comment section. Also, a very big thank you to all of the patrons on the channel, the super pack of hype bringers. Really appreciate you. If you do want to support the channel and get early access to all of my videos, then please consider checking out my Patreon page. The link is in the description of this video, and it really helps me continue to make awesome Game of Thrones videos on the channel. If you want to see more Game of Thrones videos like this one, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified for upcoming videos on the channel. All the linky goodness to my Twitter, Patreon, and more is in the description of this video. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all in the next one. Hype and love.